Welcome to The B Word, a women's lifestyle podcast. I'm your host, Katie Ploss. I'm a school psychologist, women's wellness coach, a doula, and the founder of BU, a women's wellness community. I created The B Word to share my stories, knowledge, and training to help you navigate the everyday challenges of being a woman. We discuss everything from navigating dating and relationships, parenting, building a career, to just finding what you're passionate about and figure out who you are meant to be. At The B Word, we aim to destigmatize mental health challenges, grow, heal, and empower you to be your most authentic self. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to The B Word. It is a little bittersweet to be recording this episode titled Farewell for Now, because this is the last time that I will be sitting here on this microphone for a while, for the foreseeable future. I don't have plans for a season 4. This is the last episode of season 3, and what right now is the series finale of my 2.5 years as a podcaster. And what a ride it has been. When I sat down to record this and I was just reflecting about everything that has happened over the last 2.5 years. And I've said this before on previous episodes, reflecting and talking about this. It has just been so unexpected, but like in the best ways. And if you would have told me when I recorded my story sitting in the dark of I wasn't in the dark, but it was 3 a.m, sitting in this office just by myself, releasing all that I had gone through over the last couple of years prior to that moment, I just wouldn't have believed you. Every single thing about my life has somehow been impacted by me podcasting and me releasing my story. And I think looking back on it, it was so messy, and it was not, I don't know how to word this. It wasn't messier than I expected it to be, because obviously I was telling my story and I wasn't sure how people were going to receive it. And some people loved it and some people didn't. And I've talked about that. But what I know now is, even though it was so messy, and over the last 2 years, I have experienced what I like to call a vulnerability hangover, where like I put all of myself out there, and now I don't feel like I need to do that anymore. And I think that I feel very safe in just letting things be for me and being able to process my experience without putting it all out there. But I think in order for me to get to this place, I had to release all of that stuff first. And the way that I did it was perfect. And it put me on a path that it landed me exactly where I wanted to be. So in the end, while I have had a little bit of a vulnerability hangover by sharing my life on the interwebs and on this show, I wouldn't change it. I think also the way in which I did it remains intentional, even though it was messy and it was very personal and it was very raw. There was so much intentionality behind me sharing it. And what I hope this project did, this 2.5-year project of me not only sharing my own story, but then spotlighting dozens and dozens of women and their experiences and their stories, is that I hope that people walk away from this with feeling at least some amount of hope. I think of all the things I hope to do with this show: inspire, empower, normalize stigmatized issues like abortion and mental health, and amongst several other women's issues. I think the most important piece of it is that I hope that a woman that listens to this that has really struggled with something like that feels hope, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is joy to be had. There is self-discovery and enlightenment to be had. after experiencing some really tough stuff that we all experience in one way or another. It looks different for everybody, but in one way or another, we're all living this life and we're all experiencing difficulty in some respect. And so I hope that anybody that's going through something hard, whatever it is, can listen to this and listen to other people that have gone through hard stuff and have found a lot of peace and healing. And so I don't regret one single moment of this journey and this project. And I'm so proud of the women that have been brave enough to come on this show and share their stories, no matter how messy or complicated it was. Our women, even women that came on anonymously or not anonymously and shared their story, it was just such a privilege to be able to hold space for them and put their story out there on this platform. So I just want to thank those women, those guests, for taking a chance on me and letting me hold some space for them while they did that. And like I've said, it was such a life-changing experience for me. I have a lot of different friends now. I am getting married. My career is completely different. So I never expected any of those things to be related to this podcast or related to me sharing my story, but it really all does in one way or another. And it is just it's such a weird feeling to be like closing this chapter. But I need to close this chapter, and part of why, and I do want to share like how I came to that decision, because a lot of people, every time I would go to stop doing this project, which I can think of 3 different moments over the last 2.5 years distinctly where I was like, I'm done podcasting. And somebody somewhere, somehow, and I don't know if it was like divine intervention sending me signs, no, you have to keep going. But somebody gave me a reason to keep going, whether they shared with me how the podcast made an impact on them, or somebody came on the show and I was so inspired by them, or whatever it was. And this time, though, I am very intentionally closing this chapter in order to make space for all that I am growing into, which is so exciting. I don't know if I'm going to be off the mic forever. I think after everything I've been through, I just never say never. So it is very possible that one day in the next few years or so that I will find myself back here. But right now, this just feels like the right time to put the mic down. I think too, the last, I don't know, year or so, I don't know. I almost feel like writer's block in a way. I don't feel like I have the creativity or the inspiration that I once did, which seems to be a indication that I need to take a step back and take a step away. I really also feel drawn to wanting to write more when I eventually have free time after grad school and wedding planning ends, which I'll talk about that too. But yeah, I just think I want to explore other mediums for my creativity and being able to share my voice and my story. And I also want to make some space to explore that. But mostly where I'm really intentionally creating space is with grad school, which I had all the intentions in the world of creating all summer long and putting out episodes every week. But I think I have shared before on the show. Now I'm second guessing myself. Have I even talked about that I'm in grad school? I had to have. I must have at some point talked about this. Oh God, now I'm like thinking about it. Maybe I haven't. So to back up a little bit, or to refresh you, like where I'm at in life at the moment is I am a practicing school psychologist, and there was a time that this podcast took a direction where I wasn't sure that I was going to continue to be a school psychologist. But what ended up happening instead was that I pivoted into still being a school psych, but in a different capacity, working for like a private company versus being directly employed by schools, which was probably, as of right now, one of the best things that has happened to me, both financially, work-life balance wise. It was just a really great move, and I'm so grateful to the show for getting me to think a little bit outside the box as to how that could look for me. So I'm doing that, and that takes up a lot of my time during the school year still. But also what this show and this platform drove me to do is that I really have my eyes set on private practice and helping women and girls and supporting their mental, emotional wellness. And that's really what the B word is all about. That's why I rebranded it from Bitch, You Need to Hear This to the B word. And that is my focus for my grad program. So I'm in a school psych doctoral program. So in May of 2025, I will be getting my doctorate degree, which is crazy. Absolutely just like surreal. And my focus for my defense, so a little bit just like if you're my friends and family, this is a great episode for you to be listening to, because I usually don't bother to give people the spiel about my schooling and what I'm doing, so I don't want to bore anybody, but I don't want to bore you either listening to this. However, it's within the context of what I'm talking about. You made it this far, I'm assuming you're interested. But essentially for my doctorate degree, it's a little bit different than a traditional PhD. So it's in school psych, and it's within the the College of Education at Loyola. And with that, I'm getting an EDD. It's called a educational doctorate instead of a PhD. And so the way that I do a dissertation, it's actually not called a dissertation, it's called a capstone project. And what makes the capstone different than a dissertation, because they are very similar in a lot of ways. I've been working on it for a year now, and I have another year to go with it. And I still have to do a defense, and I still have to digest a whole lot of research and do a whole lot of writing. But essentially what I'm defending is not me having studied a phenomenon and wanting to publish an article about it or a book about it, but I am defending an action research project based on a problem that I have identified in my practice as a school psychologist. And then I am coming up with a proposal for how to solve this problem or do something to improve this problem that I've identified, and what steps I propose to take. And then I have to defend that in front of a panel of professors, and then I am able to walk across the stage and get my doctorate in May of 2025. So a little bit different than a PhD, but still a ton of work and effort and thoughtfulness and intentionality. And I am doing that. I went into this program, and part of my personal statement when I applied was about this podcast and my passion for helping women and girls and really taking that lens and that focused approach when working with people. And so my project is surrounding that, and it's actually focusing on the disproportionality of girls in special education in the state of Michigan where I live. So when I pulled the data of the statistics of how many girls in the state of Michigan versus boys have special education services. So if you need accommodations or you need special ed support from special education teachers, whatever your disability is and what your needs are, only of the 100% of people that have special education services, only 30% of them are girls. That means that 70% are boys, and there is a huge disproportionate representation of gender in special education. And so what that can potentially mean, and what I'm studying and proposing for this project, is how does that impact girls in their education? How does it impact girls in their post-secondary plans and being able to get jobs that can help close the pay gap and really seek opportunities after they're done with school and get a quality education and things like that. So that is what my capstone project is based off of. Also, what I'm doing with my doctorate degree is that I am getting the classwork that I need to get licensed to work in private practice and make BU women's wellness community move forward and continue to grow. So a lot of what I'm doing, everything that I'm doing for my doctorate comes back to BU and the project and the mission that I am doing here. And so I am super excited to be doing that work, but it takes so much energy and time, as you would imagine, to get a doctorate. And so I had really hoped that this summer because obviously the kids are on summer break. So as a school psychologist, I do get a lot of downtime in the summer, even though I do work and do some odds and ends things throughout the summer. But while that normally is the case, classes for my doctorate degree were way more intense than I had remembered summer classes being during my master's and ed specialist degree programs. And even I took summer classes even in my bachelor's, so I'm like very used to university level summer classes that are 6 weeks long and they like are super fast paced and intense. But I don't know, this was just like maybe because it's been such a long time since I've been out of school. I don't know. But it was a lot, and I just really did not energetically have the space to dedicate to podcasting. I had a ton more episodes that I had planned to record, and I unfortunately did have to cancel a lot of recordings that I had scheduled, and I had a lot of guilt about that. And the episodes I had recorded that I just released this past Thursday, I have been sitting on for too long to actually get out to you guys. So I just want, if I'm going to make a show and I'm going to do something, I want to be fully committed to it. And I just don't have the space to be committed to it with school, with my job. And with my job and this like the first few years of my foray into the private contracting world as a school psych, I have so many opportunities to grow into that. And that also just takes a lot of time because I'm doing a lot of different things that are outside of a traditional role as a school psych that I wouldn't do if I was in a district working directly in a school. So I just have so much energy that I have to dedicate to that because it's really exciting and it's honestly changed my life in the sense of my income, in the sense of the way I live my life day to day. And all of that is really good stuff. But again, I just have to make room for it. And so unfortunately, the podcast is one of those things that I am intentionally stepping back from so that I can dedicate that energy into that and grad school. And then also, no small feat is I do happen to be planning a wedding. So Nolan and I are less than a year out from our wedding. So the real planning is starting to begin, and I actually have tasks that I need to do in a timely manner. And we have really enjoyed this first year of our engagement, and it's been very laid back and chill, and we've just like really loved that. And I would recommend to anybody if you are not sure if you want to do a long engagement, I don't regret it at all. I'm so glad have gotten to like really enjoy this season with Nolan, but now we're less than a year out from the wedding, and so there's just going to be a lot more that I also need to make space for. And these were all things that were not in my life when I started this show and this project. And God, I'm thankful for the season of my life that I started this show. I was able to explore this and podcast and share my story in a creative manner. And I was in a creative writing club and saying I want to get back into that. And I do after grad school. But I dedicated 3 hours every week to get on a call with a group of writers and share our work and critique our work. And it was like so amazing that I made this space to pursue hobbies. And I also dedicated so much time every week, literally a minimum of 5 to 6 hours a week of like of self-healing work and like therapy and coaching and like mindfulness work, and that was beautiful. And I can't imagine fitting that into my schedule now. But at the time, it was such a game changer, and it's laid all of the foundations for me to be here in this moment, feeling so peaceful and, yes, stressed and busy, but like mentally so well. And that is such an accomplishment. And I'm so excited to be able to celebrate that by doing all of these lovely things. I do. And part of too why I'm not sure I'm going to pick up the mic after grad school is that one, our wedding is very shortly after that. So I'll be really busy with wedding stuff at that point. But also I hope to become a mom in the next couple of years. And I think that me and Nolan starting our family, I know that Nolan and I starting a family is going to take up so much space and energy where even the things I'm doing now are going to look completely different in the next 2 or 3 years, hopefully, as long as everything goes well. And as according to plan, which life doesn't always, so I cannot say for sure where we will be in the next couple of years, but that's where we hope to be. That is where I'm just making space for not only what I'm doing now, but all of the exciting things to come. Yeah, I don't have a ton to say today. This is a short episode, but I really wanted to dedicate a episode to rounding this out and saying farewell to all of you and talking directly to all of you. I was just telling Nolan the other day, like when I put out the last 3 episodes that I've posted, it like really warms my heart that even now and like when I take these long breaks from posting content and I'm horrible with social media and Instagram and especially, but like whenever I post an episode, I love that some of you must have notifications turned on to when I post, because within a couple of minutes, like somebody is listening to my show. Multiple people are listening to my show. Because I can see, you guys can't see like the listen counts, but I can on my end, and it is just warms my heart, and I just appreciate it so much that you guys are like dedicated, loyal listeners, and I am just so indebted to my loyal listeners and all of the people both close to me and that I don't know personally but have supported me in this journey for the last 2.5 years, who have shared your stories with me personally and have shared how this show inspired you to seek therapy or figure out how to heal from the things that hurt you. And I think about that girl, that version of me that was like in a very dark place 4 years ago. And 4 years ago is like not long at all, but it's also a lifetime ago for me. And I just think about how hopeless I felt and all the things that I would have missed if I wouldn't have come out on the other side and figured out how to heal from all of that pain and suffering. And I am just so grateful that I have been able to, in real time with all of you, heal here on this platform and share how I have healed, because it's been a wild ass ride and it's going to continue to be. And I don't think that I'm only 31. So I don't think that I'm never going to deal with something hard ever again. But it has felt so peaceful for the last couple of years, and I'm so grateful for that. And it's just such a testament to all of the healing work and release that happened for me. And I really hope to anybody that has found this show in some of their darkest hours that you just remember that it gets better, so much better. And I hope that you continue to follow my journey on social media. I'm really going to be probably very quiet on the BU Instagram, as I have been for the last several months. You guys, I don't know what it is about Instagram these days, but I just have no desire to post there. Even on my personal page, I just have found like I'll post to my story a lot, but like actually posting I don't know. I just don't have the energy for it to think about taking photos and captions. I don't know. I'm just not in a like mental space like right now to be out and about on social media. And I wonder if part of that is because I have shared so much of myself in the last few years, and like I'm in this headspace right now where I feel called to go inward and do more inner work. I don't know. But I just am probably going to be very quiet on Instagram. I just don't have any desire to post. But I will keep you guys updated. I also put my website back up because I am still operating BU Women's Wellness. And so just because the show is going away does not mean that I am going away, and I am still serving clients. And as I've said multiple times on Instagram, me saying farewell for now to the podcast doesn't impact my current coaching clients at all. And if anything, it actually is affording me more time to dedicate to them, more energy, more space to dedicate to them. But I wanted BU Women's Wellness to have a home somewhere. So I tweaked the website. So there is not a merch store. I'm not managing that. Like, I'm not updating the podcast every week, but there's still a place that you can go to contact me if you are interested in becoming a one-on-one client. I also am offering doula services like by request. I'm not really marketing myself as a doula at the moment because, again, like, there's so much momentum with my school psych work right now that I don't necessarily have the need to do it, but I do love it. So whenever I have somebody come a knocking requesting that, I have my birth class available for you. I have those services available for you. Anyone that I work with as a doula, like, part of that package is my birth class that comes with it that you can do asynchronously on your own time, in addition to sessions that we would have together prepping for your birth experience, and then attending your birth or supporting you as a postpartum doula. I do both. So it's not something that I'm going to be heavily marketing, but it is there. So I have my website up so that if you are interested in looking at a coaching session package or doula work, you can find me at BUcommunity.com. It is BEYOUCMTY.com. Of course, it is linked in the show notes for you, so you know where to find me. Of course, it's also linked on my Instagram page, which is the handle is the same as my website. So BU Community, BEYOUCMTY. That is also my Instagram handle. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very easily findable. My email is katie@bucommunity.com. I am definitely reachable. I would love to hear from you. I would I love anyone that reaches out and DMs me and tells me about how they're doing and all their things. I really love interacting with you guys that way. Definitely reach out at any time. Don't hesitate. I'm going to miss you guys. I really am. And one of my psychic friends DM'd me when I announced that I was ending the podcast. And she said, "This is not the end of podcasting for you." So I have that in the back of my mind as I'm saying farewell. She's like, "You're coming back to this at some point." So we'll see how long my farewell lasts. But I am truly so grateful for this opportunity in the last 2.5 years. And I just love all of you so much. I appreciate all of you so much. And I cannot wait to be a witness, whether it's through social media or through in-person interactions or however we end up interacting in the future. I just can't wait to see all of the women, all of the people that have supported this project to continue to grow and flourish. It is my favorite thing to witness all of your journeys. And until next time, this has been your bitchiest podcast host in all of the land, Katie P. See you next time. That's all for this episode of The B Word. Don't forget to check out the show notes for any resources we shared with you today, as well as finding our links to our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel, and our website, bucommunity.com. You can find out all of our course offerings, memberships, opportunities to work with me individually, and more. That's all for now. See you next time.